What's going on?
Yo,
How you doing?
man, fresh out of ass, dog.
Fresh out of ass, dog.
Get it.
Yes, sir. So this is the Baseline Podcast brought to you by Athletes for Israel. This is our 6th episode of 2026. It's the new year, and we're really excited to have Robert Turner III with us.
Man, excited to be here. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much. So as we start every episode, we're just going to start with a little icebreaker. You played in so many countries. What's a part of you that changes every time that you land somewhere new?
I mean, adjustment, just adjusting and being able to. I say the main thing that changes is being open. You know what I mean? You gotta have a different mindset, an open mindset to understand others. You know, you gotta understand that every country is a different culture, it's a different vibe. So, you gotta make sure that you adjust to what you're getting yourself into. And once that happens, it makes everything much easier.
So what we want to do first is we want to introduce you a little bit to our listeners, just kind of run through a little bit. We did this a little before, we'll do it now, of just a little bit about your career. So you're from Georgia.
Yes, sir.
You know, then you went the JUCO route, you played there for a couple of years,
Right.
then Texas Tech. Then you went and bided your time a little bit with the ABA, Georgia Kings. Then you went, and now you went overseas. And when you went overseas, you stayed there. You went Mongolia, France, Spain, France, Iceland, France again, Poland, and now Israel with Maccabi Ashdod.
Yes, sir.
So as you know, welcome, and take us back to the beginning of when the ball was first put in your hand.
Man, early, you know, I come from a basketball family. Like everybody playing sports in general. Like I played multiple sports. You know, actually, the second sport, my second favorite was baseball. You know, when I was younger. So, you know, like I said, I come from a big sports family, and just so happened that basketball stuck with me. Whenever we had to take photos, and in order for them to want me to be happy, I needed a ball.
So growing up in Augusta, in Georgia, what was the basketball scene like? Were you playing street ball a lot? What was that like? And growing up, how was the basketball put in your hands?
Yeah.
You said from an early age, so what was that like?
See, I love that. I love that question because a lot of people are not familiar with, you know, Augusta, Georgia basketball. So I'm gonna give you my background. It's tough, physical. We outside. You know, like I come from that area, and unless you're ready for that type of physicality, they telling you, hey, young fella, you can't play unless you're ready for this. You know. So I kind of come from where you watch guys really get after it, and you gotta have the heart to get out there with them. So, you know, I say like we got a rough and tough background. You know, no slack. We gonna get to it.
Do you think that Augusta kind of prepared you for that overseas physicality?
100%, 100%. And it's a go-getter mentality. Like you know, you going out, you playing that last possession and pick up like it's the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? So I don't know any other way to do it. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, I'm from Chicago, and, you know, we have a little bit of that, like, you know, grit and grind with it as well, so I get that. But the South has something special about it. You know, there really is. We talked about before the podcast, you know, EYBL's there. All of these incredible opportunities for younger hoopers are there. So were you already looking kind of from a young age saying, I want to hoop at a higher level? Or was it more of just, like, as you said, I'm just hooping in the park, this is my time?
Well, you know what? It comes from it's like a chip on your shoulder. Like like I said, a lot of people don't know how much talent we have down there. Now they do though. You know, the door's been open. But back then, a lot of people didn't know how much we had. So it's kind of like, man, what do I have to do to stand out or get to that level where, you know, I get that notoriety to get to a certain level that you're watching on TV, or those guys that's coming to play in like the Peach Jam. Like how do I get in there and compete? You know what I mean? Like that's what I say. I think Augusta, Georgia gave me that hunger, you know.
So in high school, you know, how did you get that exposure? Where were you going in order to get, you know, you come from a little bit earlier in the time, AAU wasn't as big as it is now. So how were you getting that exposure at an early age?
Well, you know what? I actually shout out to the program that I came up. I came up through a program called Team Power, and actually the guy that ran it is Greg Williams, a great mentor of mine. He took us everywhere. Amongst other great people that helped as well, but he took us everywhere, all over the country. Like I always tell people, that orange basketball has taken me so many places, you know. So just playing in different atmospheres, and like I said, getting a glimpse of some of the great talent that I saw at my age at the time, it was like, okay, you got to go back and grind. Like if this is where you want to be, you have to find a way to compete with this type of talent each and every night.
And when was there a moment in there where you got this almost this wake up call where you were like, if I want to be like this, I gotta give it my all?
Yeah.
When was there a moment where you said, all right, like I know that I am made for the next level?
I'll say this. I went to an exposure camp. It's like they grade your game a little bit. It's called Bob Gibbons. They had players from all over the country. It was in North Carolina, and when I got there, I saw all the talent that was around. I was like, man, I wonder what they gonna say about me, what they gonna think, blah blah blah. But when I got out there, the talent level was so high that it raised my game. So once I got there, I was like, man, it's really nothing. It's all a mindset. Like you got to put yourself in that, like in that moment. You know what I mean? That was one of the first times where I was like, man, above the pressure. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get to it today. Yeah.
And coming out of high school, the D1 offers didn't come so quick, so you went the JUCO route.
Right.
Going to JUCO, what was that like? Talk about the grind of actually being in the JUCO system.
And let me tell you, I'll be honest, and I have a lot of great teams, a lot of great teammates. This place, I went to New Mexico Junior College. That's one of the best brotherhoods that I had built in my career, in my basketball, in basketball period. Like, it's a grind in JUCO. Everybody's trying to make it out. But one thing that we did, we put it together. Like, we all want to get to we all have a common goal, and we're going to get there together. And we ended up winning our conference championship that hadn't been done in like 20 years, and 7 of us went Division I. Yeah. So just, as a matter of fact, and I shout out this guy all the time. I call him sometimes to this day and say thank you, Desmond Lee. And everybody knows, if y'all watch this, they gonna know that he was our guy. We all met up together and said he can only go to one school. You know what I mean? But he was one of the first guys I seen with like a spectacular game. He's an amazing player. And all of us, we built this brotherhood, filled in, and we got to where we wanted. I got to Texas Tech. I had another guy, New Mexico State. Another guy played with Alfred Payton, I think, down at Lafayette. My guy Desmond Lee, he went to North Carolina State, which is huge coming out of JUCO. You know what I mean? So amongst other guys, man, like I said, we built that brotherhood, and we had that same brotherhood to this day.
Would you say that's normal for JUCO? Because a lot of times when I hear about JUCO, I hear,
Jungle.
one-on-one ball, just
Right.
kind of everyone's just trying to get that D1 offer. But you guys, you built this something special. Is it something that JUCO's seen, or?
I'm gonna go further on and give another shout out to our coach, Coach James Miller, one of the best, another great mentor that I had along the way. He brought us together. He gave us that sense of purpose, like, hey, y'all have a common goal. Like, if winning solves everything, and that's what we went out there to do. We were dogs, and he gave us that mentality. We were an extension of him, and we all got what we needed in the end. Yeah, and so it really came down to coaching. Yeah.
It's amazing. Shout out, Coach.
Yeah, Coach Miller. Hey, matter of fact, shout out to him because he actually just got nominated for upcoming a candidate, like one of the best candidates for head coach in Division I basketball.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was up under a great umbrella. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So being under that umbrella, and also, like you said, amongst 7 guys who went D1, including yourself, you go to Texas Tech. Were you getting other offers in Division I?
Yeah.
What was special about Texas Tech that made you decide to go there?
So I was in a place called Hobbs, New Mexico, which is on the border, like close to the border, an hour and a half from the border of Texas. All right, Texas Tech was an hour and a half away from there. I had went out and seen Texas Tech before. I had went to 2 games, and amongst other things, I seen so many great things there. So once they got in the mix, I was like, man, look, I gotta be there. But I had big ambition for myself as well. I said that if I'm gonna go through this grind of going to JUCO, I'm reaching for the stars. I could have been in a lot of other places, but I reached for the stars, and I thank God always for landing me at Texas Tech.
And you go to Texas Tech, this is 2013, 14, 14, 15. Of the 65 games there, you started 61 games.
Right.
So going there out of JUCO, were you aware that you were going to have such a big role?
I tell you, and you always put me in this position to have to shout out great people in my life. Coach Tubby Smith, another great man, a great example, legendary.
Legend.
You know what I mean? Big ups to him. Like, I love him. That's a real father figure in my life, for sure. He believed in me. When I got there, I worked hard. That's that background. He knew where I came from. He knew what I've been through. He knew how I scratched and clawed to get there, and he gave me the opportunity, and I'm always thankful for that. Like my coach Tubby Smith was like a great mentor and father figure, and like I'm thankful that he believed in me to put me in a position to play those 62 games. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. And then, going through everything that you had to go through and finally get to Texas Tech, big stage. What was it like getting there and playing on that big stage?
Man, it's nothing like it. Big 12 basketball, baby. Yeah, it's nothing like it. Like just that you can smell it when you smell the popcorn. It's time to get to it. Yeah, that's the only thing I can say. It's nothing like it. It's a real feeling. But one thing about me was too, I didn't come to just compete. I came to show like, I want to win. You know what I mean? And I say that now to this day. That hunger that I have, when it's gone, that's when I know it's time to put the ball down. But I have that in any environment.
How validating was it coming from this route that kind of we've talked about, that you get to Texas Tech and then you have all of these fans. You're playing in this massive, massive environment. As you said, Big 12 basketball is special, and especially nowadays, like Big 12 basketball is known as some of the best basketball in the world.
Right.
What was that transition like over to Texas Tech?
You have more notoriety. It's a way bigger platform. You know what I mean? So you just have to be careful with that. Like it's an adjustment period. I think an adjustment period like that is what helps me in my career now. You know what I mean? You got a lot of things that can distract you. You got a lot of things that you have to worry about, but you got to keep the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's great to have great mentors like Coach Tubbs, having him in your ear like, hey, you got here. Make the most of it.
Just another quick little shout out, at Texas Tech, you played with Dusty Hanas.
My guy.
And now you're playing in the same league as him in Israel. Did you ever think that would happen, where you would be at Texas Tech with a player and now playing in Israel?
Just seeing, once you graduate college and, you go your separate ways, sometimes you never see people again. You know what I mean? Unless y'all meet up, or like you said, the basketball world is small, so you can see people anywhere. But to run into him here and now in our stages of our life, man, that was amazing. Like that's a good friend of mine, a good man, and I really appreciated the moment we had on the court. Like we talked about it, like, oh, I'm about to see you, but then you get there and it's like, what's up, my boy? Like, it's right back to the first day we met. You know what I mean? And all the good memories we had playing together. You know what I mean? And I'm super proud of him.
It's amazing. Going back to Texas Tech, it's around 12, 13 years ago. What would you say?
That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Time flies. Time be flying.
Talking about time flying, what would you say is a big difference between college basketball, Big 12 basketball then to Big 12 college basketball now?
Hey, man, the rules are a lot different now. A lot of things have changed. Look how many new teams you have in the Big 12 now. It's different systems, a different style of basketball. Like when I was in the Big 12 back then, it was, you got Joel Embiid down there at Kansas, Marcus Smart, it was hard-nosed, you know what I mean? It still has that same grit, which I'm happy to see, but, the terrain is different with all the new rules and stuff like that. So, that's the main difference. The things that can go on now that couldn't happen back when I was playing.
Speaking of new rules, what are your thoughts on NIL? NIL's being such a big thing, and then you were before the NIL time, so basketball landscape is completely different, and everyone's transferring year to year. It's almost a free agency. People are making millions going in. 100%. What's your perspective on that?
I'm always happy to see young guys, get a chance to start their life out. That's my man. That's the thing that I love the most to see with NIL, that guys actually have a head start on, getting their life in order. You know what I mean? To have that happy ending. You know what I mean? Now, as far as like money coming to the game, things can get a little bit shaky, with the leaving, the loyalty, things like that. But that's what the small things that's gonna come with it. But my main concern is that people have a chance at an early time in their lives to set themselves up for success. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm mainly happy for.
It's amazing. And bringing it back to your time at Texas Tech, I saw a little post of yours where it was a huge game, and you have this crowd full of fans like lifting you up. What was just like that night like?
Surreal. Like that. That's that why we play moment that being embraced. Everybody loves to be loved. You know what I mean? And that right there, that's that feeling of why you play. You know what I mean? That's that fire. We got a big win, and they came out and showed us love for it. And next thing I know, they put me in there and said, "Come on with it."
So
that was beautiful.
You have your time at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, started basically the whole time you were there, 2 seasons, and then college hoops are over, and now you have to look at your future career. So now you're staying ready in Georgia. Talk about your time staying ready, being close to home.
Let me say that's the most humbling. That's the most humbling and the most mentally challenging part of your career. Not knowing the next. You know what I mean? Not knowing where you end up. Even if I could have ended up in Israel my first year. I don't know how everybody lives. I don't know I probably wouldn't know how to adjust early on. All I would know is that I'm going to play ball. You know, it's just the not knowing. You don't know what you're getting yourself into until you get there. And the whole time praying that, everything works out. You know, it's mentally challenging. You need to pick the right agent. I say this. When you go along the way, you got to run into your bumps and bruises. You know what I mean? That's what helps you figure out the game. You gotta learn where you fit the most, as well. That's, as you can see, 5.5 years in France. I found my niche there. You got to find out what works for you. Like I said, you're gonna make them mistakes early, going this route or that route, but it's all gonna come together. So just mentally, like in the beginning, the not knowing what's coming next, but just praying for the best.
You talked about playing for the Georgia Kings,
Yes.
right, in the ABA, and you also played a little bit time in the D League.
No, I actually tried.
Tried out.
Yeah,
Tried out
exactly.
for the
Yeah,
D
for the Texas Legends.
Texas
Yes,
Legends,
yes.
but they were in the D League.
D
G
League
League.
at the
This
time.
is pre-G League.
Yeah,
G
G
League.
League.
So
yeah.
talk about the Georgia Kings
Yeah.
trying out in the D League. What was that experience like?
Man, I mean, hey, great. And my best friend, one of my guys, like a brother to me, PJ Myers from my city, he came to me, hey, why you home? I'm creating the Georgia Kings, the ABA team, and he created it, and we went around and did our thing. That's how I stayed in shape while I was home. So I always pay homage to him. I actually told him a crazy fact is we both played in the TBT together.
Wow.
And I let him know, I was like, you remember where we started? And we just played on national TV. We had played the Xavier team in the TBT not too long ago. And just how far things came, and I just looked at him, I said, hey, you gave me my first pro experience, right? And he was like, he just laughed, you know what I'm saying? But you just cherish those moments and the good people you run across. Yeah.
Right.
That's so special. I mean, where does this, this is a little bit away from the basketball. Where does this perspective of it come from where you meet all these people in your life and they make this impact on you and you really cherish that and hold that and you remember it. And like you said, you've shouted out people from, 15 years ago, So where does that perspective come from?
You know what, man? Because that's what I put out. You whatever you put out, that's what you get back. You know what I mean? I'm hoping, I pray that, people remember me the same way when they encounter me, you know what I mean? Like, that's just my character, as a man. Like, if you help me along the way or, we've been locked in, then I'm always forever, hold you to a high standard and make sure people know the great you did, when I came across, and when I passed across, yeah.
And you said you played in the TBT, right?
Yes.
You're a champ, no?
No champ.
No champ?
I would have took a year out. No, I'm kidding. I would still play. I still would have played, but no.
But still, being in the TBT, what was the TBT like?
Man, another great experience. High level talent. It's definitely a man's game. You got to be ready to play. And that actually, in the summer, it gets a lot of people exposure. A lot of guys get G League looks, overseas looks. A lot of people paying attention. It's the only basketball that's on TV at that time.
WNBA.
Yeah, and WNBA. Shout out to the WNBA for sure. But at the time, and it's between that little break that you have between the NBA and WNBA. So like highlights, all that. ESPN, they showing the game. So. Yeah.
And then you talked about playing with your friend in the Georgia Kings, ABA. Now it's time to go overseas.
Right. And
your first stop is in Mongolia.
Yes, sir.
So what was that like, going all the way over there and actually getting off that plane to start your overseas journey?
Hey, humbling, like I said, humbling. But I honestly pay a lot of homage to that part of my career. You know what I mean? when you play somewhere like this in the beginning, and shout out to them as well. They just got nominated as one of the most, growing leagues in Asia right now. Paying guys well, paying on time, and taking care of guys. So I'm happy to hear that. But out there, that's the first time I received that good overseas love. You know what I mean? Like that feeling where you showing something new to a new group of people, and they appreciating your game. You know what I mean? Like when I say they treated me so well, and for it to be my my rookie year, then I went back my second year. You know what I mean? I had to do some real deal spectacular things to get in Europe after that, but they gave me my first chance, so I'm forever grateful.
MVP
to be that, yes sir.
And dunk contest.
I got a fun fact for you. Chris Jones for Hapoel Tel Aviv was in Mongolia at the same time my rookie season.
Really?
So it's guys like him that I watch take their career to the top, and I'm like, hey, knowing where you coming from and know where you got where you clawed and scratched to get to, it's amazing. Yeah.
That's special.
What's something about Mongolia that stood out to you off the court and then also on the court? Because as you said, it was a very humbling you come in, but it's a league that, as you said, is up and coming, and
Right.
and you were in some of the beginnings of making that league special. Yeah. What is something off the court and something on the court that stood out to you?
Off the court, I would say is when I went outside the capital city and I saw people really living off the land and how they have to live in that. It's a harsh winter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's completely frozen in the winter, but just that, that will to live life. You know what I mean? Like it was some place where I had no signal. I'm disconnected, but I'm with this group of people that would, that's taking care of me like I've been there for all my life. You know what I mean? And just watching that and how people conducted themselves and stuck together, to get through that harsh period of time just showed me another level of life, like appreciation, like, you know what I mean? Just seeing them tough out there. It's a harsh winter. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And for them to come together and do what they do, like I really respected it and I appreciated that. And then on the court, like, you're not thinking that anybody, like this is my first time out, you're not thinking about how somebody is about to appreciate you. But when I say when they love you, they love you. That love you get on the court, taking the pictures, it's real exciting. They're excited, you know what I mean? Like it's real entertainment, out there. So when something happens, they rowdy, they getting crazy, and that type of stuff. It fuels, it fuels the fire.
Gets
so
you going.
Yeah, it gets you going. So just that love and appreciation I got for that to be my first stop, I cherish that always.
And you showed your bunnies, as you said, slam dunk contest champion.
Yeah.
Also the MVP of the league,
Yes, sir.
which ultimately got you into Europe.
Yes.
Right? So you go over to France. What was it like getting to Europe and playing the European style of basketball?
It was nice to. I learned a lot. I tell you that, the spacing, the importance of every little piece of strategy. Pick and roll game is huge. Hitting that, and another thing is hitting that three ball. You got to be able to shoot playing this game. You know what I mean, and manipulate the game better. You know what I mean. That's what I say. I learned a lot about how to manipulate the game in a lot of places in Europe. Whether it be France, Spain. Especially spinning the ball on your hand, throwing that one hand cross court pass. I picked up a lot. That's what kind of helped me keep going. You know what I mean? I picked up a lot of things. I learned a lot of things along the way, and that's what helped me kind of raise my game.
Can't forget about that step back of yours.
You feel me? Yeah.
So you go to France, you play there, you play incredible there. You average your first year 17 a game, so you're already killing it right there. You come off an MVP season at Mongolia, 17 a game in France. You then move up to the Spanish second league from the French third league. What went into that move going over to Spain?
To be totally honest, at that point I had already thought that I would stay in France. You know what I mean? But I was granted this opportunity to play in second league Spain. That right there was the key. Like that was a great learning experience for me. Just that, like I said, that's that space and the speed. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that speed, but you got to be thinking the game at all times. It's a chess game in Spain. They plug in and play each player. They know exactly what they want. You know what I mean? And when it come together, it's beautiful. Like you can watch some Spanish basketball and kind of it look like somebody, playing the violin or something. You know what I mean? So I kind of picked that up about the game over there, and I'm happy for that experience because after that I went back to France and took some of that knowledge with me. Yeah.
So talking about France off the court a little bit, and then also, you have siesta in Spain and all of that.
Yeah.
What was like off the court like in France and in Spain?
Oh man, in France, you got so many options. You know what I mean? Like, you can walk down the street and just see a beautiful cathedral, or you know what I mean. And Spain it's a beach everywhere. It's beautiful. Spain remind me in Israel got some nice scenery. You know what I mean? But France, it's just cool, calm. Siesta time, there ain't too much going on. And it was funny to me because when they explained what siesta was, I said, so you get this long break to take a nap? Like, yeah, we get about 30 minutes to an hour in the States. Yeah, but both, like I said, it's easy to live there because you got the scenery, you can walk out, and have something to do.
And like you said, you go back to France after Spain for another 2 years.
Right.
So what was that stint like? It was with Vitre?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, Vitre.
Vitre.
Yes.
So what was your time
Vitre.
like with them?
Man, beautiful. I learned how to drive stick shift there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I started to learn the language.
I still don't know how to.
I don't have a license.
It be like that sometimes, but I learned a lot there. I learned my wines there. My different type. What to drink that red wine with, what to drink with the white. But most important was when I learned the language. That brought me closer, closer to my teammates. Hey, I'm T-Poo. Yeah. But nah, I speak way more than just to get by. You know what I mean? But that helped me with my relationship as far as organizations and with other players. Like I said, they treated me real well. Yeah, I'm forever grateful for Vitre.
And as you said, you learned in Spain, you learned a lot about basketball.
Yeah.
And then you pivot that over to France to average over 20 a game back-to-back years. You absolutely start killing it. And then you pivot that into a first league Iceland.
Yeah.
So you go from a third league to a first league. So you make that jump and you kill it there, averaging 23 and then 29. What went into that move, MVP? What went into that move, and what went into you succeeding so much there?
You know what? I'm gonna disclose this one. While I was in Spain, probably the most important man in my life, my grandfather had passed away.
I'm sorry for your
So
loss.
it's all good. It's a part of life. So when that summer, or when I had to go through that period, it was like I just remember being at the funeral and I said, and I watched all the people remember him in such a beautiful way. You get what I'm saying? Like they remember him as a great man. And I asked myself, well, how you want to be remembered when it's, when it's that time? You know what I mean? And how I felt about like I said, that's my goal. You know what I mean? So I went back with that on me. You get what I'm saying? That I'm gonna make you proud. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna turn it up a notch, and I'm going, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna make sure that every step I take, anybody that I come across, I want them to remember you. I want them to remember me like they remember him at that time. You know what I mean? It just changed my mindset. So I just took everything that I learned and I was like, hey, we're going for all the marbles. You know what I mean? So everywhere I went, I took that with me.
So as you continued your journey, you were in Mongolia, France, Spain, eventually Iceland, but what's like a misunderstanding maybe between people back home in the States that they might have about overseas basketball when in reality it's not really true?
I'm gonna give you one thing. We don't come over here and directly make $1 million. That's for one, you know what I mean? You gotta take them opportunities, you gotta run with it, you know what I mean? And then, it's step by step, it's all on you. You bet on yourself. That's one thing that everybody has to know. Hey, you gotta bet on yourself, and go with the right mindset. It's a lot that comes with it. They think it's an easy job. Like, one thing for sure, I'm blessed every day to come out and play the game I love, and that's my job. That's for sure. But also, you away from family. You got it's a lot of adjustment periods. You just a different cultures. Sometimes when you need that real deal talk, like somebody really understands you, sometimes you need that. But hey, it's only you and God at that time. So you gotta go ahead and tough it out yourself. So that's what I say that. Just for everybody out there that it may seem easy, but it's a lot that come with it.
Right.
Yeah. But hey, you gotta be built for it all. Yeah.
And what did you say earlier? You said that orange basketball takes you all
They
around the
take
world.
you all the way around the world, you know.
It's amazing. And then
It's
eventually, like we said, you get over to Iceland, kill it, you know, and you had that MVP season. What was that MVP season like? And being in Iceland, what was it like off the court as well?
And look, one of the most underratedly beautiful places I have ever been to, for one. The terrain, I know a lot of people think, yeah, it's just snow and this and that. Nah, beautiful place, beautiful people. And they really embraced me. They gave me a shot to be me, you know what I mean, to play my game. Both in V-Trey and these two places, like, they gave me a chance to be Robert Turner III and, you know, showcase my talent. And I was able to do big things with it, so I really appreciate them now.
Now, you end up going back to France after that, and something so special is that you played 3 years in the French third league.
Yeah.
You then move up to the second league,
Yeah.
and then up to the first league after that. So talk us through that experience and how validating that must have felt.
You know what? I love the validating comment because that was my thing. I had the first place I went to was Orshi, after Mongolian. I had my trainer, Greg McClare, came out and he was doing drills with me in front of my friends' team, my coach. My coach, we played in our last game that day. He sat me down. He talked to me. This is my French coach. He said, "You keep going at this route. I see you one day. You can play in the first league." Till that day, I was like, "I'm gonna get that. You know, I don't care how I do it. I'm gonna get that though. You know what I mean? I want that to be my story. That they took a guy from third league and he made it all the way to first. So, boom. You know, no matter how long it took me, yeah, I got there. So that was very validating. That was one of my goals to achieve, and it got done. Now it's about getting some more championships. You know what I mean? Keep playing, having the best days. You know what I mean? That I can while I still can.
In the second league, with La Rochelle and with Fos-sur-Mer, you were averaging 18, 21, 18, and then even in the first league, you're averaging like 10 points. What was so comfortable for you in the French league?
They already knew what I brought to the table. To the table. Once they recruited a guy like me, like I said, I had been around. So once I got that adjustment period, it was always, you know what you're here for. Go ahead and get it done. And then on top of that, like I said, I met some great people along the way that made it easy for me to do my job. So, a big thing is character. You know what I mean? Whenever they called somebody and asked about my character, what I brought to the table, they always heard great things. So it was always easy to build that relationship and get things rolling.
So at that point, you've been overseas for an incredibly long time, and, going from place to place, opportunity to opportunity, and you stayed overseas for years. But so what's the mindset that kept you from burning out?
You know what? Like I said, keeping the main thing, keeping that hunger. Like I say, I always want to, do the unthinkable. You know what I mean, and finish the drill always. So just staying locked in. That sometimes that's my gift and curse. You know what I mean. I'm so locked in sometimes that you be hard on yourself. You know what I mean. You have those days where you like, I wasn't good enough today. You know what I mean. But I'm gonna be good that next day. You know what I mean. Just that competitive edge. I want to play. Like that's a big thing with me. I love the game. You know what I mean. So getting burnt out not an option. Once I'm burnt out, I'm done with it. You know what I mean. But I got a lot to go. Yeah.
Just staying competitive also means like on the court and off the court, but also in other aspects of other areas of your life. You're living for 8-9 months of the year in wherever you're going.
Yeah.
What are some things that you do off the court to kind of keep you sane and keep you motivated?
You know what? Bringing the things that I like to do from home, bringing it, and making that place I'm in home too. Making that my home as well. Like, as you can see, in a lot of the places after Spain, I doubled up. I re-signed because that's how you build that real relationship. And I tell people all the time, if you're gonna be somewhere 8 to 10 months with a team, you got to be some type of friends or something. You know what I mean? You got to build some type of relationship. So just for example, in a lot of places I've been, including in Ashdod, which I appreciate them for, I go and work with the kids, with the children. I enjoy doing skill development and coaching youth basketball. You know what I mean? Like we were talking earlier about me having the EYBL jacket. I just love the game. I love being around it. And especially when you're teaching, because teaching the game helps you stay sharp, playing the game. Yeah, so I try to do those type of things, you know, keep that rolling, that mentorship, and just building relationships with, you know, with people in the community and stuff like that.
Does that make it tough ever to leave a place?
Man, always, always. I actually got bought out of my contract in Iceland to go to La Rochelle. Listen, I had flew in, and I had played in my last game there. And walking out of the gym, all the youth, because I had been with the kids, coaching them, and built this strong relationship over that year and a half. Man, we all followed each other outside the gym, giving hugs, just them telling me how much they appreciated me, and you know what I'm saying, I always had a home there. Like times like that, you just don't forget. You know what I mean? I'm still in contact with all the organizations that y'all said. I'm still in contact with everybody. Yeah.
Wow.
It's honestly incredible because a lot of times we hear about players who their career passes them by almost. You know,
Yeah.
they go 10 years in and they're like, wow, I've been to 15 different places and this is just all so crazy. And you seem to have taken advantage of every single moment of what you've gone through. And that's incredible. And I honestly just want to give kudos to that because, you know, that's really something that shows an immense amount of perspective. So that's really incredible. And so the question I kind of have for you with that is, where did you feel most at home out of these places that you went? You know, was there a place that stood out to you that you said, like, you know what, like that's home now, or was it still always everywhere you went was home because it was where you were?
You know what? Yeah, I put it like that. That everywhere kind of you know, with what I brought to the table and how they treated me, they kind of always made it like a home. You know what I mean? It was always more than basketball, and that's one of those things that I had to learn. Like when we talk about at the beginning, it was always like, hey man, you got to do something spectacular to get to that next level. You got to do this, you got to do that. And sometimes you don't see outside of that bubble of trying to do that, doing extraordinary things. And then along the way, like I would come here, like for example, in the States, in the summertime, we still going hard, like working out, and I'm sure a lot of people do too. But they know how to relax, you know what I mean? You know, they know how to take that mental break so they still be okay. And along the way, that's what I started to pick up and learn. Like, hey man, it's more to life than, you know what I'm saying, just thinking that you gotta work and get to it. You know, you gotta have that mental break and take that time for yourself sometimes. But that's probably one of the biggest things that I learned about people, how they made it home for me. They gave me outlets, you know what I mean, to show me something different. You know, I got a lot of different, a way bigger different perspective just on life in general with my experience with basketball. Yeah.
And you're at Forest Sumer for 2 years, and then you go to Poland for about 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like playoffs or something?
Yeah, the playoffs. Well, a little bit in the season 2. They wanted to, they didn't want to be relegated at a place in Poland, and I kind of came in as like some veteran leadership for sure. We ended up making it into the almost the play-in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What was your time there like?
Oh man, beautiful. I got to experience Poland. It's about 2 hours away from Berlin. Man, that's a beautiful, beautiful city. So I'm happy I got to see that. You know, a whole lot of sightseeing and stuff like that. And I actually enjoyed having that kind of like that mentor role. You know what I mean? And being just that little bit of light and positive energy. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need that extra kick. You know what I'm saying, to get that fire going a little bit. And we competed every day. Yeah. And I would often tell them, you know, it's not just about this stopping my journey. You always got to work for your next one. Mm-hmm. So I can, now with times like this and how well I kind of started this season, I always think about those times because that's what I was telling other guys. Like, I took my, you know, for once you take your own advice, you know, you're working for that next opportunity. No matter where you at right there, that next opportunity might be the one that, boom, that pops. You know, so I look at times like this and I appreciate that time there in Poland.
So before we get to the next stop, Israel, let's take a break, and we're going to do this segment brought to you by Athletes for Israel called Myth or Fact.
Talk to me.
Talking about just college versus overseas and the overseas lifestyle. Myth or fact, if you can score, you'll always have a job overseas.
It's a fact. Depending on how you do it. Gotta know how to do it, and also let everybody do their job. You know what I mean? If that's your thing, make sure you know how to get everybody else involved, and make sure you lock in on the other end.
You can't just score.
You can't just score. You know what I mean? But Some guys, so if you're doing well
Some
enough,
guys just put the ball in the hoop.
somebody yeah. So that's just what's expected. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, if you can score that ball, depending on how you can do it, I think more times than none you can have a job.
Myth or fact? The better the country, the better the situation.
I mean, if there's no in between.
You can do it in between.
You can do it between.
I'm saying it's a gray area in there because depending on how good that area is, and you got to know yourself. You know what I mean? If it's too much going on, it takes away from that main thing. Then that could make it a myth. That could make it a bad thing. You know what I mean? But then but if a place is great and your living situation is great, you're gonna be a great player. Like you're gonna be comfortable enough to do your job. The more comfortable you are, the better chance you have of having a successful season. Yeah.
So moving on to our next one, myth or fact? Overseas is only for guys who couldn't make the NBA.
That's cap. That's cap. I'm going myth. No. Look, great players in college can be great players overseas due to the fact that look at how it's set up. You can still have your big man in the paint. There's no defensive 3 seconds. So it's similar. It's way more similar to how everything is here. So I'm thinking about a lot of players that were highly recruited in the NBA. That I was like, man, coming out of college, you would be crazy in your league. Like you probably would have had a better chance or something like that because it's a jungle on both sides, but you got to know where you fit in. Like we said before earlier in the interview, like, hey, you got to know what suits you.
Can you touch on that for a second? You said you've seen some guys go to the NBA who kind of had maybe like end of the bench roles who you think would thrive in the EuroLeague? Not
even end of the bench roles. For example, a great player like did you see how good Jimmy Fredette was? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just thinking of him like, man, you do something crazy, you know what I mean? But then I always look at the guys we have now over in EuroLeague. Kendrick Nunn, crazy. You got Horton Tucker. He a highlight reel every week.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And they on the up and up in the standings.
Right.
So and right here you got Blakely and you got what's my guy over in Maccabi? Lonnie Walker. You know what I mean? So sometimes you find you find your niche. And you run with it. Whether it's the NBA or over here, it's great basketball everywhere.
Facts.
So myth or fact? Your agent controls your career.
I said the wrong thing. Look, I can say this. They can definitely enhance it. I say you got the right guys behind you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go with a positive route on it. Like, you got the right guys behind you. You can definitely, you can definitely do damage together. Yeah. They can get you in the right spot.
So going to our last one, myth or fact? Being the best player is more important than being the right fit.
You always got to put we before me. Even though it's for everybody getting paid to do their job individually and stuff. Winning heals all, no matter what, and being a great guy. So in order to be a great guy, you got to be a great teammate. You know what I mean? Like that's what comes with it, like building relationships and building a family and stuff. Like I said, you're gonna be with people 8 to 10 months. There's no way to be the sour person in the bunch. Worry about yourself. I think that being the right fit, but also know that you got a lot of guys around you. So you got to build that camaraderie. You know what I mean?
So then,
being the best player, it's gonna come. It's gonna show. Whatever work you put in, it's gonna show regardless. But other than that, like you get that by coming in with the right mindset, gaining that respect and showing others respect first. You know what I mean?
Respect is huge. It'll get you further.
100%.
So, moving on, you had that playoff stint in Poland, then you have the summer. Now you hear about Israel. So Israel comes up. Are you talking to any guys? What's your first thoughts coming up when you hear about Israel?
Yeah. First thing first, I knew what was going on, as far as, we got war and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So, but I had already been following one of my good friends, Amin Stevens. I had been following his career, and Dusty had been over here as well. So I gave him a shot, like, hey, what's going on? What you think about it? Man, First thing he
loves
said,
that.
"Look, hey man," he told me, "What? Man, I'm going back." I said, "Okay, cool." You know, he gave me the word, and then I talked to Dusty. He's had nothing but great things to say, and that made me feel more comfortable. And once I got over and I seen how things really work, I'm like, first of all, how warm the people are and stuff like that. You can't just go off what you see. It's beautiful here, you know. And for people to be so warm and kind and have these big hearts, you know, I hope that peace, you know, I hope that everyone finds peace throughout whatever goes on, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely a great place.
So you come over here and you're in the second league, and you played in the second league in France, and you also played in the second league in Spain. Talk about second leagues overseas and maybe what a misconception might be, because there are some hoopers out here playing in the second league.
Yes.
So talk just about second league in general.
You know, it all comes down to responsibility. Like in a lot of your first leagues, you know, you're gonna have multiple imports. You know, multiple great players. You know, and then your second leagues, you know, you probably have less imports. You know what I mean? And you have a bigger responsibility. You know what I mean? And but depending if you that right fit in your situation, sometimes you playing your best basketball in that second league. You know what I mean? And then if you think it's smart, you know, sometimes you can, you know, you build the best relationship with them and you try to go up or do what you got to do in your situation, and it probably helps you to be on one of those teams you know, in the future if you want to up your game. But if you want a forever home, a lot of people understand, you know, it's good working in a lot of these second leagues, and you happy, and you thriving, and you get a chance to be yourself. So I think that's the biggest thing a player, you know, if you're a real player and competitive and have that competitive edge, you know, sometimes it's not all about the level, sometimes it's your best fit, and if you can make a good living in that situation, then why not keep going?
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, very well spoken, very well put. You know, as we said, you know, you've spent so much time in third league, second league, and then a little bit of time in first league. You know, and you said there's hoopers there. Is there still a goal in your head of saying I want to get to the first league, or are you more of like, this is the second league, this is more than enough, this is incredible, this is where hoopers are at, or is there still a part of you that's trying to get to that first league, or no?
You know what? For the work that comes with this and the work you put in, you always gonna have that competitive feel, that you know, that thing that you thrive off every day is like, man, hey, look, I still got this. I can go in here and play with the best of them. You know what I mean? And you get to a point in your life too where you got to know, like, hey, this is where I'm thriving. You know what I mean? And this is where, hey, maybe to get to that level, maybe I gotta, you know what I mean? The leadership that you bring, or you know what I'm saying? That, like I said, that spirit of you just being a good person, good teammate. Hey, maybe that thing can be contagious, and you know you can do something and go up together. You know what I mean? You know, like I said, I'm more so focused on you know, where I'm thriving and where I can, you know, where I can be the best version of Robert Turner 3. That's
Right.
yeah.
You gotta stay present.
You're right. Staying in the moment.
So now you're here for about 6 months already. What have you kind of loved about Ashdod and Israel off the court?
Ashdod is quiet. It's good vibes. You know, from day one, my coach Dan, shout out to him. He made us a family. You know what I mean? Like that's our motto. That, you know, all good guys, we going hard for one another. We got each other back, and we building this family. You know what I mean? And we're gonna see where it takes us. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I love. But I tell people this all the time here when I get this question. My first 2 or 3 days, I maybe had like I had a good conversation with like 2 or 3 people that I had met in like stores. And when I left, they said, "I love you, brother." I said, man, listen, if somebody was having a bad day, that could turn it around instantly.
100%.
Like, you know what I'm saying? The power of saying, "I love you." You know what I'm saying? Like I told you, everybody love to be loved. And I was like, man, what? It was so warm. I was like, it's too good to be true. Like, you know what I mean? But nah, like just that warm feeling, the warm welcome that everybody had, like, it's incredible.
Have you gotten the chance to go to like any Shabbat dinners or anything?
Come on, man. I'm loving Shabbat. Oh, yeah. And shout out to everybody that did that for me and my teammates. Man, it's great vibes. Food is always great. Israel's definitely top of the list on the food.
Have you been sticking around Ashdod, or have you been able to go all over?
And look, Ashdod is home.
Yeah.
I'm in Ashdod. I actually experienced Jerusalem just recently. Of course, you know, a little bit in Tel Aviv and stuff like that, but I'm majority of the time locked in Ashdod. Yeah.
How has faith come into it? You said you just went to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Were you kind of checking out biblical areas? Did that come into it?
100%. And as soon as you step in Jerusalem, you go straight back into biblical times. Like you can, whatever story or depiction you have in your brain, like it takes you right back to what was going on. You know what I mean? No matter what you believe. So it's super dope.
What's something that might have surprised you most about coming and playing in Israel?
Man, like I told you, how warm the people are and the terrain is beautiful out here.
Truly.
You know what I mean? Like it's great. Great beaches, like great restaurants, great food, but most of all, great people. Like everybody, just overly, you know, like their heart like is incredible. The heart that they have for like unity and bringing you in and making you feel welcome, that warm welcome. I'm just like, you know, I'm grateful for that.
It's amazing. But going back to on the court, you know, playing in this league, there's a lot of really good, you know, you have Dusty. You played with Wesley Harris too, right?
No, I
You never played with Wesley Harris?
No, never.
Oh, I thought I saw he was on maybe a Poland team or something, but maybe he left before you got there.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so.
You guys probably switched roles or something. That's crazy.
Probably so.
Because I saw you guys were on the same list for the same season. But Wesley Harris is another amazing guy.
100%.
Marcellus Erlington. We could go down the list, you know. But playing in this league, what's the competition been like? How's the league been for you, and how have you kind of adapted to it?
Like I said, it's that like first off, like I said, we built that great camaraderie down there. Like I'm always one of the guys for sure, but just the responsibility given, you know what I'm saying, for what they want me to bring to the table. Like you couldn't ask for anything better. And as far as the league, like it's up and down. Like that's how, you know, sometimes, like I said, it's your fit. You know, where you can thrive at. And I thrive in transition, you know, like you said, getting up and down, going to score the ball, you know, getting that open man, you know what I'm saying, fat, getting up and down, you know what I mean? And that's how we roll down in Ashdod. And as far as other teams, it's a lot of competition. It's guys that hold their responsibility. It's a jungle every night. You never know what can happen in Lumen League. So, and I appreciate that. I look forward to every night I get a chance to play.
What's a goal of yours that you have? I mean, you've found such a great fit for yourself, and you said Ashdod's home. You know, what is a goal you have for the rest of the season, going forward, maybe for next year? What's a goal you have for yourself?
1% better each day. 1% live like I say, living in the present. You know what I'm saying? Being a great teammate. Make sure that every day I come in that I'm inspiring that next guy to do his thing while they inspire me too. You know what I mean? Like that's my main thing. Like I say, living in the present, being 1% better every day, putting the work in, and like I tell people now, you know, I got more days behind me than I do, you know, in front of me as far as playing ball, but I'm gonna make the most of them every day. I'm gonna go hard every day.
As you start to wrap up we wrap up here, and as you're getting later on in your career, and you've had such a great career, you played at the highest level of college basketball, played all over the world, as we spoke about. What's some advice that you would give to a younger hooper coming up and maybe coming overseas?
You know what, I always say this, keep the main thing. God, family, basketball, or whatever you're doing, make sure that you stand for something. If you do that and you keep your values, you'll be able to make it anywhere. You'll be able to adjust anywhere. Make sure that, like I said, when it comes down to the main thing, do what you came for and do what you love. You know what I'm saying? Follow that dream, go hard, and everything else will follow.
Amazing. So now, as we wrap up every episode with something called a quick hit, or like a 24-second shot clock, brought to you by Athletes for Israel. Yeah. And we're just going to basically throw out some questions, give as many answers as you can in 24 seconds.
Okay.
Do it.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hardest country to adjust to?
I can survive anywhere.
Best fans you ever played in front of?
All of them. I love them all. Let's go.
Most underrated league you've played in?
Iceland.
One coach who really changed you?
Franz Vitre.
Shawarma or falafel?
Shawarma.
Favorite Hebrew word?
Well, I was about to say something crazy. But, Haim Shali.
Nice. Thank you so much for coming
Nah, I
on.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yeah,
brother.
nah, I
That's the
appreciate
Baseline Podcast. We appreciate you.
it. Nah, I appreciate y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
Big
Awesome.
ups to y'all, man. Y'all great.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.